Oops. Hey, everybody, we're here for a new episode of Five for Talking. This is coming just before the Olympics hockey starts up. I believe uh, what's it called? Introduction ceremony already happened.
I guess I'm
Okay,
not
he
watching.
guesses. I mean, I'll dabble in the
What
Olympics here and
did,
there.
did it already start?
Yeah, the first events were today, so we're filming
When's
on
the first
Saturday.
game?
For hockey, I think it's Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday? Okay.
It's a T day. It's Tuesday or Thursday. Um,
T Day.
yeah, T day. Um, we're gonna talk a little bit about the NHL. Talk a little bit of Leafs. I'll probably lag a bunch. I'm here with Caps. He's the captain of the show. Say hi to him.
Hi to him.
Okay. Anyways, what do you want to start off with here? I think we should start off with the Panarin trade.
So
I mean,
go
I'll
ahead.
break it down. I'll break it down. The Panarin goes to the LA Kings, which apparently was the only team he approved the trade to. Um, I was like, okay. In return, the Rangers get Liam Greentree, a conditional third round pick and a conditional second round pick. So this is what's crazy about the conditions, and I don't know if you know this. The third round pick becomes a second round pick. Oh no, sorry. The third round pick becomes a second round pick. Yeah, sorry. Third round pick becomes a second round pick if they advance out of the first round of the playoffs. Okay? The
If
if they win a playoff round,
who?
LA Kings.
Okay.
So if the LA Kings win a playoff round, the third rounder becomes a second. The fourth rounder goes away if they don't win two rounds. So if they LA wins two rounds, and New York gets the fourth rounder. If they don't win two rounds of the playoffs, that pick just goes away. So you basically traded a third round pick because they're not going to win the first round of the playoffs, and Panarin, and Liam Greentree for Panarin.
I got to see this on paper. This seems very, very complicated.
It when I was watching people explain it, I was like, "There's no way that anyone would accept that trade." But I guess he said he's not going anywhere except LA. So
And obviously, New York is going to have to go through some sort of a rebuild or retool or whatever they want to call it.
and if he chose not to leave, which he didn't have to, his contract expires.
Hmm.
He re-signed for 2 years, 11.5 per year. But I believe the point five is deferred, so they are the cap hit is only 11 million.
So, do you believe that Panarin helps them?
LA big time.
No.
I'll tell you why. Because LA has little to no speed. They don't really have any crazy goal scoring people on their team. Like they have guys that can score goals, but they're mostly two-way players or playmakers that can score. There's no like legit goal scorer on LA. But he's also a playmaker in Panarin, right? So that's
I question Panarin's dedication to playing hard. Um, I his effort, all that stuff. I know he's got like 57 points in whatever games, but
52.
um, I don't know. He hasn't been noticeable, maybe because of the fact that it was a really crappy Rangers team. But um, it'll be interesting to see what he does for LA. What is he on the first line? Like what?
I don't know. I can
He's playing
check.
with Kopitar.
I can sure check for you.
But yeah, I've never seen Panarin step it up when he needed to, especially like in a playoff game or a playoff series or anything like that.
He
So
hasn't been slotted.
okay,
So the first line is LaFerriere, Kemp, and Corey Perry. So I'd imagine it's probably going to be on the first line.
Corey Perry comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
I mean, hey, um, looks like the Kings are in a win now mentality, especially with the fact that Kopitar retires at the end of the season. So, yeah,
they
we'll see
can
what
make
happens.
some more moves.
Definitely.
Like they're not like an empty team, right? They have pieces. They have a lot of depth, but they're not. They have no like real star players. You know what I mean? They're a little bit heavy on the older side of the puck. But I mean, I heard good things about Liam Greentree. He hasn't done anything yet, but he looks like he has some grit to him. There's a couple clips of him floating around. So we'll see what happens. I mean, the Rangers are in like figure it out situation, right? They still have a lot of pieces they can move, and I'm assuming they will move them. I would assume Adam Fox is not going anywhere, and the rest and the goalie, Shesterkin, and that everyone else is expendable.
That I mean, you can. I guess it's safe to assume that the New York Rangers are this year's Boston Bruins from last year. Like they're just gonna get rid of a whole bunch of
Yeah.
people and just
And everyone's
retool
going to
and
question every single move that they make because they're all
yeah.
kind of wishy-washy. And then next season, all of a sudden, they're going to be good.
That'll be interesting. That's possible,
Because
but
I
it'll be
remember
interesting to see where some of these players end up.
everyone questioned the trades Boston was making, and everyone questioned the contracts that were overpriced that they were signing. And so
I
they
mean,
turned out pretty good.
well, it's just by moving out some of those players, they allowed the young guys to play even more, and they're developing and they're becoming really good players. So yeah,
The also just I just saw this right now. There's an article that just came out as we're talking about him turning down a deal. I don't know if you saw this. It says 2 days ago. I never saw this. The Kraken were going to offer him 14 million a season. Wow. For 56 million total.
I think he was just probably sick and tired of being up in northern side of things. He wanted to go south.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just wants to to be honest with you, I don't think this move has anything to do with money. I think he just wants to be in somewhere nice, like
Yep.
nice weather wise. Because the tax in California is crazy, so it's not for tax reasons. And they're probably not
Sure.
winning a cup. They're probably not even winning a playoff round this year.
Yep.
I mean, the Kraken look all right too. The Kraken are about a similar place than that LA is, like in standings wise. Um, so Seth Jarvis is replacing Braden Point on Team Canada. Did you hear about that?
Is the Pacific not division in the whole NHL? I believe
Say
they
that again.
are.
Who?
Hmm?
What did you say? The Pacific
I
Division?
said, is the Pacific not the weakest
Oh,
division?
easily. I'm
Yeah.
going to be honest with you, and this is like we should talk about this because it will lead to our next week's video that we're going to release, which will be the tier list of us re-ranking at the halfway point. That division is Edmonton and Vegas, and then everybody else. And Edmonton and Vegas both are not good. Like if you comparatively could take LA or sorry Edmonton and Vegas and say they're like this other team in the East, it's the Leafs. And look where the Leafs are at the bottom of their division. And those guys are at the top of their division. That which is crazy. The worst team, the worst team in the Atlantic Division would be in like what the middle of the pack.
You kind of lagged there a little bit, but all
Did
I
I go
got was
through?
you are now. You are now.
The worst team in the Atlantic would be in the middle of the pack. Hello? Did I freeze or did you freeze? Sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties. Caps, on my back. Can you see me?
I see you.
All right. All I was saying is the Pacific, or sorry, the Atlantic Division is a lot better than the Pacific. To
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make it easy, it's not even close.
I agree. I guess, yeah, I guess we can move on from that.
No, no. Let's talk about the standings.
Anyone in particular?
Um, the Panthers. Outside of the fact that they're like public enemy number one right now, and after the game they had with Tampa and the game they had with Boston recently, where everyone has seemed to turn on them, they're playing exceptionally dirty. But we expected more from this team who is just bottom feeding right now.
Yeah, no, I'm totally taken aback from that because they just got one of their best players back, and it seems as though they're not playing very good hockey. Um, I mean, they were on the brink of getting into a playoff spot, but now they kind of just, um, they just lost any sort of momentum that they had. I I personally have not watched any highlights or games from the Florida Panthers, so I'm not in a position to really speak on the way they're highlights, especially from the Tampa versus Florida game, which I did see a couple highlights from the dirty hits, which thank you, Peros, for doing nothing. Um, I don't know what exactly are you saying because I can't really comment on something I haven't really seen.
They just don't seem to be clicking. They like maybe it's going to take more time for everyone to get back on the same page, but it's just they look like the Leafs, which you know what that looks like.
But the only person that they're really missing right now is Barkov, right?
Yeah, but they just it doesn't seem to be the fact of missing someone. It just feels like they don't feel like a unit.
It's crazy because it's pretty much identical to the same team as last year. Maybe other teams have figured them out. I don't know. Um, they're still playing that similar style, which every other team wants to replicate because they think that is the winning formula. But I guess it's safe to say other teams have kind of created their own path and not kind of doing a copy and paste of what Florida's doing because of how they're playing this year. I don't. What do you what do you think or what are you saying to that?
I mean, it also comes to play the fact that the Atlantic Division is very strong. I would say 8 of the top 15 NHL teams this season are from the Atlantic, right? I would say Carolina in the Metropolitan, and that's it. And then Colorado, Minnesota, Dallas, and then Vegas and Edmonton. The rest of the NHL is below the Atlantic Division.
I honestly thought Boston was going to be a sort of a bottom feeder team.
They look great. Ottawa has been playing really well. It's just they can't close out games. Buffalo
Yeah,
has been playing really well. Detroit has
it's
been playing really well.
it's crazy what Boston's been able to accomplish. Buffalo. I mean, you've been pretty high on Buffalo for a long time, but it seems as though that, like you said, they weren't able to um, close out games. Get that chemistry. But now, after that 10-game winning streak not too long ago, they've been able to put themselves in a playoff spot, um, or play themselves into a playoff spot. And they're still a pretty young team. They still got um, a long way to go in terms of their development. Um, I think coming into the season, I had a feeling about Montreal. I thought Montreal was coming along, and I thought that they were going to make the playoffs again this year. I think the team that really surprised me is Detroit. Um,
I agree. I
I
think
mean,
we both like. I know you're not an Ottawa guy, but we both kind of agreed that Montreal and Ottawa were going to go on a bit of a run this year.
well, when you look on paper, I always thought that Ottawa is stronger than Detroit, but I don't know where the hell Detroit's coming from.
I think
And I
they
think
just
that
built a
has a lot to
well.
do with John Gibson.
They built a well balanced team.
Yeah.
Okay, and they are. I would call them the Eastern Conference version of the LA Kings. Maybe not this year, but the LA Kings we've seen of recent years, where they're just two-way and they're physical.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Definitely.
They have a good goalie. They have a solid defense.
They have two good goalies.
They can carry the puck up. They can play in the defensive end. It's hockey, 90s hockey.
It would be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the playoffs. I mean, you could pretty much say that they are in the playoffs. Like I don't. We've talked about it many times throughout the season that we felt that they were going to drop off, and things were going to become a little more what we expected to happen. But it seems like going into this playoffs, we're going to be seeing quite a few, not a few, but quite a few surprises. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they can do in the playoffs because they didn't make the playoffs last year. They were close.
They were close for a long time, and then they kind of
Yeah,
just dropped off.
I think like Montreal took that last spot or something like that, if I remember correctly. Anyway,
I mean, yeah, it's a bit of an interesting year. Like Pittsburgh is really chugging along, but the Metro is really bad.
so I'm glad you mentioned this whole. I'm glad you mentioned Pittsburgh. Um, I'm pretty sure you know that a couple of nights ago, or maybe last night, I can't remember what it was, but Draisaitl called out his team in the media about his kind of disappointment in the way that they've been playing as of late, from the GMs to the coaches to the defense to the goalies, and we we know about the Jarvis and excuse me Jerry and Skinner trade. Um, I still think that Connor Ingram is a very, very good goalie, but it
Yep,
seems as though, as of right now, Pittsburgh's winning that trade.
I agree,
Do you
but
agree?
I this is what I'm gonna say, and you could tell me if I'm wrong. I still think as a goaltender, what who they are, Jari is better than Skinner.
I agree.
But Pittsburgh seems to understand how to play even a lick of defense. Edmonton doesn't seem to even want to play defense. It's like they have five forwards on the ice all the time.
And I
No,
think that's the biggest difference.
and I don't want to be the guy because I'm not going to pretend they're not some of the greatest players of all time already. But Draisaitl and McDavid don't help at all on the other end. So it doesn't matter if they score 5 goals a game. And I'm not big upping Matthews here, but like what Matthews has started to do on the other end of the ice, those guys might want to consider doing it instead of just calling people out.
Hmm.
But
No, you make a good point.
it's not
It's
Jari's fault. He hasn't been playing well, but there's no defense.
it's funny because I haven't been paying attention to that, and the next time I watch an Edmonton game, I'm gonna try and see if I can notice that, and if that's actually what's going on, like you say, that's a big problem because they need to help each other out. I mean, you can't just depend on your goalie to make every single save for you. You have to play defense and you have to take shots away, block shots, all that stuff to minimize any chance of the opposition scoring a goal. But like you said, and I think that's a huge point, is that Pittsburgh has, uh, they've been able to realize that yes, Skinner has his flaws, and the best way to help him be successful is to play defense in front of
I
him.
I also think that Sidney Crosby is a tremendous leader. And when someone's in a mental like rut, I feel like he's there,
Well, he's been at it for like over 15 years,
right? And
even
I
longer.
feel like if you watch the interviews with like McDavid is a lot more composed than Draisaitl is, but they both just they're more frustrated than they seem to be like, well, I'm gonna help turn the ship around. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't think you'll ever see McDavid say the things that
But you could
Drysdale
see it
said.
in his eyes.
Yeah, you could see it, but I don't think he's the type to actually go to the media and just
No.
bitch about his
Um
team.
I watched very recently a couple of games. Edmonton versus Anaheim, Edmonton versus Minnesota, and then the Leaf game very recently. And they did end up winning the game against Anaheim. But I want to say this. It was Anaheim was on a back-to-back and they just had
Mm,
a really hard-fought game the night before. I think it might have been against San Jose
mm.
and They dominated Edmonton for a period and a half, and then out of nowhere, Edmonton just scored like 4 goals in a row, and the game was over.
Yeah, like tr- Edmonton's always been that type of team where they're always coming back.
They're just really fast.
Yeah, and but like you said, like I guess you could uh, throw this into the mix is that Edmonton played Toronto not too long ago as well, and
They lost 5-2.
yeah,
And the
it's
game
like
against
they kept
Minnesota that I watched, they lost 7-3. And if you
that's
watch the
crazy.
games, if you can play defensively and stop the breakout, like Edmonton's not super great at controlling the zone and they can't play defense. So if you can keep the puck out of your own zone against Edmonton, you're golden because they can't play defense. They out of the elite tier teams, like let's say the top two teams in every conference, which not all of them are elite, but you know what I'm saying. They're by far the worst defense. Like it's not even close. Like the Islanders and the Penguins have a better defensive structure than Edmonton.
Yeah, they've been able to figure it out.
Uh,
I don't know.
you want to talk
I mean,
Leafs? Or you got some more Edmonton?
um, no, I'm good on the Edmonton thing. The one thing that Draisaitl this mentioned in that media scrum is that he feels that they are a worse team than they were last year. So,
They are on
um,
paper too.
it'll be interesting to see if Bowman actually addresses those needs, where he needs to bring in some guys to help him in a playoff run
What do
because
you
we
do
know that
here?
they're going to make the playoffs.
I'm gonna throw something at you, and I want you to be realistic with it, but also understand where I'm coming from. You're Edmonton. Your draft picks are not worth anything. You don't have any really big trade chips except maybe Bouchard. That's like maybe available. Do you try to bring in little bits and pieces that in the end of the day are probably not going to help help you get a cup, and then you're just keep trading away your future, trading away your future, trading away your future? Or do you trade Draisaitl and McDavid and get two absolutely massive hauls and just start again?
You put me on the spot.
Because like immediately in your head, you're like, obviously you don't want to do that, right?
It all depends on what McDavid's and Dreisaitl's long term plans are.
Let's just say this: I trade you, I'll give you Draisaitl, and you figure out the rest of the structure of the trade, and you give me Connor Bedard. And then I'll trade you McDavid. You figure out the rest of the structure of the trade, and you give me Celebrini, and that's my new start: Celebrini and Bedard. I'm not saying that would happen, but do you know what I mean? Like this is not going to work.
But like there are other factors as well, like trade partners, and you got to see where they're at and what kind of pieces they can give up and
But
what
neither
pieces they
one of
already
those
have.
guys, both of those guys are still in their window. You still have
Yeah,
like 6 years from both of those guys of high production.
yeah. I mean, you got to look at the supporting staff as well. Like, um, that's an interesting question. Um, I mean,
Or you get rid of one.
yeah, I mean, Florida did it with Kachuk and Huberdeau. Um,
It's the structure of having both of them and their contracts is what hurts them because they can't get anybody else.
I think what hurt them even more is when they gave Bouchard that big contract.
Fair.
Actually, no, Nurse.
Yeah,
Um,
big time. We talked about that. That was
yeah,
insane. Nurse
yeah,
is on an actual like elite level team is like your fourth or fifth defenseman.
yeah. At the time of the signing of the contract, he was one of their best defensemen, and then he just dropped off.
It was a contract year.
Yep, yep. I would look at trying to get rid of Nerfs. If they're not willing to get rid of Bouchard and try and get some pieces. Like I just saw a piece the other day where they're like they put a piece together where they're missing Cody Cece in Edmonton, which was You know,
We were begging to get rid of Cody Cece.
yeah, yeah.
Look, there's smart moves. People make smart moves. People make dumb moves like releasing Troy Stetcher, and now look at him on the Leafs, right? It costs nothing. Look at smart moves Carolina weaseled their way into getting Keandre Miller. Look how good he's doing for them. It's insane.
I think the elite. I think the talent is so elite on so many teams that it's so balanced now that other teams can definitely compete with Edmonton. It's not like how it was a few years back where Edmonton was looked at as one of the most elite teams in the NHL. Um, and a lot of these teams, because they're so young and they're on entry level contracts, they're able to balance out.
Exactly. You look at a team like Detroit. What do you see there? There's good players. You don't see any stars. When you look at the Islanders, do you see stars? No, but
No,
they have good goalies and they play defense. So when their forwards get them goals, they win games.
but
It's and
but
I don't
like you
want to
said, they have pieces. Yeah, that are that. Yeah, they
right.
may not be stars, but they have.
They might not be shiny.
Yeah,
It's like look at the Vegas Golden Knights that won the cup. Okay, they had Jack Eichel, but they were constructed from all these bits and pieces over years of cheating, and it just was a thing, right? Like
but you
it's.
can say that Stone was like the equivalent of Barkov. Like he's that.
I think Barkov is way better, but
No, I think he's way better, but I think he's they're
a similar
I mean,
type of
like,
player. I agree.
yeah,
I can agree with that. They're hard nosed. Their leadership. They're there. I mean,
no.
it's not to say that they don't have good
But
players in
like
Vegas.
the Golden Knights have like one at the time had one hell of a defensive core. My
Yeah.
God, like
Well,
they
it's
were
like
talented on the back end.
the way that Dallas has just lucked into the team that they have and somehow just can afford all of those guys is mind-boggling. Like, I guess the cost of living in Texas is so cheap and the tax laws, so people want to play there, right? And Dallas is also a big city, so it's not like you're out in the middle of nowhere, like playing in Carolina.
Yeah,
But it's crazy. Like, if the Leafs, if listen, my knock to the Leafs, which right now it is what it is because they're already established and we're at a point where you're going to get paid, right? But Kyle Dubas was just throwing money at people like a jackass. And look what happened. Like I'm not giving him any credit for Pittsburgh playing better. Pittsburgh just lined up. Like everything just lined up. And they're not going to win a cup. They're not an elite team. They're one Malkin or Crosby injury away from falling all the way to the bottom of the rankings. But you have an elite guy like Crosby. There's no one on the Leafs. There's no one in the history of the Leafs not named Dave Keon or Frank Mahovlich that is on a level with Sidney Crosby, like in their era. Like I don't want to knock Daryl Sittler or Matt Sundin, but Sidney Crosby's a different beast. He's in the GOAT category. He's a Lemieux. He's a Gretzky. He's a Gordie Howe. He's a Bobby Orr. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like we don't have an Ovechkin. You can give Matthews all the credit you want, and he's developing better. But like prime Ovechkin, that was out there on the penalty kill, on the power play, crunching people, fighting people, scoring 60 goals a season with no one to help him really. Like Backstrom was good, Semin was good for a bit, but they weren't like stacked. He had no Draisaitl or Malkin,
Agreed, agreed.
and
You, I don't. Yeah, I mean, you said it.
okay, let's talk about the Leafs quick so we don't have to drag this video till forever. A lot of people, most notably, the reason I'm bringing this up is because we watched the Steve Dangle podcast clip talking about Morgan Rielly, and I'm not saying nobody was fed up before, but it's nice to see people that are at a higher level than us doing this, having the same opinion. And when I read the comments, every single comment was he should have been traded 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 3 years ago, 3 years ago. Like every comment, no one was supporting him. There was zero support there. So how is he still here? And we used to think 7.5 million, me and you talked about this, was a decent cap hit for him. Now you're looking at it and you're like, that's insane.
Well, any player that's taking up that kind of a cap hit and playing the way he is hurting the team. and you've been a huge advocate about this for many years, even before he signed that contract. Um, when I watched that clip, it made a lot of sense. He is he should not be playing the amount of minutes that he's playing. It just hurts him. And
Did
um,
you see their comparison though, or just their what they were saying? He's playing
with the win
23
loss
minutes.
records,
No, they're like he's playing 23 minutes a night, and they all agreed he should be playing 16. Do you know what kind of drop off that is? That's a lot.
the funny thing is that they have other players that can take those can eat up those minutes. You know what I mean? Like you have an OEL that can play the power play. They've been pretty good for the last few games. I think they tried McCabe on the second power play unit, and he actually assisted on a goal. Um, yeah, I think I wouldn't even call it an experiment, but the experiment is done. It's done. Um, I think they need to definitely move on. They need to have that hard conversation with him. And I'm not trying to say like, kick him on the way out, but you're gonna have to have that kind of hard conversation with him and be like, this is not working anymore.
No,
It's not.
you're right, and
Um,
he's got to go. You don't have to kick him while he's down. I don't even think you'd had to kick Marner while he was down, but he had to go. Something had to a domino had to fall.
well, there's a difference between the two because Marner had an expiring contract and he was on his way out. Um, Morgan Riley wants to stay, and um, you know, it's like it's just not working. It's just not working. How many defensive partners has he had over the years? And I think you brought it up before. It's like in the past, it was all about finding that person, a perfect partner for him. When in reality, he's the problem.
Yeah, in reality, you're trying to find a way to make him work with somebody else rather than trying to
Yeah.
find someone else who works with him.
I wonder if we're able to like remember every single defensive partner
Oh,
he has
that's
had.
impossible. He's had like 10 different ones in one season.
Yeah, it's got to be like in the double digits. But yeah, like I don't I, I don't even know who the best defensive partner was for him. But at the end of the day, he's been there for over 10 years, and through the times through the Brian, I think he might have, his first season was when Brian Burke was still there. But the reality is that they're gonna have to like make the decision, the hard decision of sitting him down and telling him that this is not working out. They're gonna have to move on because um, the stats show as talented as he is on the offensive side, he is a liability on the defensive side. And it's plain to see in the last few games that they are playing better without him in the lineup. Yes, a lot of people could say the same thing that Matthews, when he's not playing, they have a winning record. Oh God! But structurally, when I'm watching the games, it's that they are more tight knit as a group. They're uh, much better structurally, defensively structured as a unit when Morgan Riley is not there. So um, yeah, I think we saw the stat. It was like 22. What was it? I got to look it up,
It's
but
it was
it's a huge difference. Um, yeah, the funny thing is that when Philip Myers would play with Morgan Riley, which I to this day I don't understand how Craig Berube can let that happen. But I'm watching the last few games where Philip Myers is playing, and he's actually playing okay.
well, I don't know. I honestly, what do you do? Yeah, I don't even know what you would do.
Like okay, I mean, like
Yeah,
not
yeah,
great,
yeah,
but
yeah.
okay.
It's better than
Um,
nothing.
yeah, but it'll be interesting to see what they do to how they handle this. Um, like, uh, with I think he's got a complete no move, right?
Yeah.
So it's not even a modified. Yeah,
I don't know. We'll
that's
save
good.
that
I
speculation for another day.
listen. At the end of the day, however way they handle this, it's probably going to be ugly. So they're going to have to fess up and just like
It's got to
do what they
happen.
need to do.
You know,
Sorry,
I said it has to happen. It has to
it
happen.
has to happen. And I'm sure he's a very very nice person or whatever. But at this point, it's a business, and they're going to have to make a very hard decision.
I agree.
Anyway, I'm going to
I don't
stop
have
rambling
anything
about
else. You have anything else?
that. No, I think I'm good. We can discuss um leaf stuff and future plans at another time.
Okay. But guys, look out next week for our episode, the tier list. We're redoing it. We had some errors, so we're going to do it again. It will be released next week. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.